Welcome back again, Thrifty Virgo Lifty family. I wanted to thank you so much for all the support that you've shown, especially for beautifulbonnetbabes.etsy.com. This is where you can find patterns, this is where you can find merchandise, and so much more. Thank you again for all your support. This week I'm working on the LIBRA Bonnet. Happy birthday to all the beautiful Libras in the world. Let's get into this project. Now, I wanted to find a design that was different from the one that I did last week. I went and did the same thing as before. Actually, for this one, I did it in an 8x8, so I could have actually cut it out in 8x8, but I opted to cut it in a whole sheet. That way I can keep up with what I have left over. Anyway, as you can see, I went into Cricut Design. I pulled up the image. I made it 8x8. I reversed it because, of course, I'm going to be ironing it onto the bonnet itself. And I basically loaded into my machine. The shiny part is facing down because you wanted to cut the back out. And yeah, so basically I like to put mine on fast mode if it's not a difficult pattern. So for this one I use fast mode, which is about 100% faster, and that way it cut everything out the way I needed it. And as you can see, well, you will see when I take it out, the actual black side is the only side that comes and is printed off of this piece of vinyl. And I take it off my mat, of course. I did have a little piece that got cut a little bit more. I fixed that later on. But again, I'm going to go ahead and cut around the design. And again, this design size is the 8x8 if that's what you're interested in. To, you know, provide the full coverage that you really need. You can make it bigger, but I use the 8x8. So I used, instead of using my tools that I could not find, I actually used the pen to get it started, and I'm just going around the edge of the afro, and I'm going to pull that out, making sure I don't rip anything and pull anything out of place. As you can see, she's coming out pretty nice. So then I take the pen again and I go into the lettering, because the lettering is going to expose the word, which is Libra for this project. And I just go ahead and continue to weed that out until I get the entire word. As you can see, that's how it's going to look on the back. So then for the cute red lips that was featured in the picture, I went and did the same process, shiny side down. I really didn't have to mirror it because the lips look the same if it was flat back, you know, backwards or not. So I just basically cut that out, ripped it off the machine. Well, not rip it, pull it off my Cricut mat again. Then I go ahead and cut that out, and since it's really tiny, it didn't take much time, and I just basically use my pen again to work around the edges to pull the little lips out. Okay, and then I went ahead and centered it where the lips look like it belong and put it on the back of that one. So now let's get into our bonnet. Now I folded this quite a few times because I wanted to make the inside and the outside gold. I do have other videos that is a little bit more detailed on how I cut it out. Right now I'm going to pull my pattern out. This is one of my patterns that I've had for a very long time. As you can see, it is a 14-inch. I'm actually altering it to make it a little bit smaller, so I think I'm going to go for like a 10 because the person I'm making this for has a little small head and a little small forehead. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with my design to make it a little smaller. And like I said, I folded it, went ahead and cut it. I now have 2 pieces, and that's how that one's going to look over there. It's going to be so cute over that gold. I went and pressed it a little bit, get the little wrinkles out before I add my design. Now adding my design, I noticed that a little piece of my bead was missing. I had to go in and improvise, but as you can see, boom, she came out good. I laid it down. I believe I had it on 285 and I did it for about 30 seconds and everything pressed pretty good, and I set it to the side, grabbed my other piece, went ahead and started ironing her. That way, before I start putting them together, everything is ironed. So after this cooled off, I slowly took it off because you don't want to ruin it, and it came out really, really good. So then I pulled the lips off, taking my time. Now what I'm going to do is go get my other piece, and it's going to be front facing, which both of the shiny parts are going to face one another. And as I did in my other videos before, I'm going to leave about a 1 to 2 inch gap, and I'm going to sew around with a straight stitch, back stitching. And as you can see, I have a little opening left over. I'm going to go and cut my excess to this. Then I turn it inside out, lay her out. I take my little clips to lay the sides. Now you can go and press it as much if you like, but for me, I really don't want to do that right now. Yeah. So I grabbed some clips to keep it from shifting when I go around, and I'm going to go around and do a zigzag stitch. And that is going to be, I'm still going to have that hole open on the side, but this is my first zigzag stitch. Then I'm going to do a second one, as you can see. And my last video was a little bit more detailed about how I went into the zigzag thing. And this is my pin. I'm going to pin it to the garment to keep it from losing this side, because I don't want to do this twice. And then I'm just going to go and guide the piece of elastic through. And this one, because it was kind of small, I cut out an 18-inch so it can be smaller for the person. But the average size I normally cut is about a 20-inch. But anyway, I'm going to finish guiding this through. Then once I finally get to the other side, I pull that out. I lay my 2 pieces of elastic on top of each other, overlapping about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And I take the zigzag machine and I do a zigzag stitch back and forth. That way I do it about 3 or 4 times. As you can see, this is how it ended up. Then to close it off, I fold everything that's left over on this side inside. So I'm just folding everything inside with my fingers, and I take my clips and I clip it shut. I'm going to continue that little gap of zigzag. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to also take it to the end, very end of the garment, to do a straight stitch on that side to make sure nothing comes loose when it's being washed, as you can see. And then I just play around and pull it, get ready for a fitting. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.